Could this be the beginning of the end? It's complicated. Trump says he's talking to Iran, but an Iranian official calls it fake news. Missile barrages continue as Netanyahu vows to keep fighting, and oil prices drop as everyone holds their breath and waits. Here's what you need to know about the last 24 hours.
We've had very good discussions, very good discussions, and this time they mean business.
במקביל, אנחנו ממשיכים לתקוף גם באיראן וגם בלבנון.
و بنا به ضرورت از هر امکانی برای تامین امنیت استفاده خواهیم کرد.
Let's begin with the reaction to President Trump's unilateral announcement of a 5-day pause in strikes against Iran's power grid, which would have plunged the country into an energy crisis. Now he says talks have restarted for the first time since the war began. It's as surprising as it is ambiguous.
So they called, I didn't call, they called, they want to make a deal. And we are very willing to make a deal.
Trump says the deal could look like this. Iran would promise to have no nuclear weapons, zero uranium enrichment, and it would curb its missile program. It would get rid of its 400 kilograms of uranium it's already stockpiled, and of course, reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Essentially, this is the same deal that was on the table on Oman, the one the US walked away from in February. But there's one major difference. The people they were negotiating with, they've now killed. So who are they talking to? Trump says it's not the new Supreme Leader, Mujtaba Khamenei. So who is it?
But we're dealing with some people that I find to be very reasonable, very solid. The people within know who they are. They're very respected. And maybe one of them will be exactly what we're looking for.
Well, Iran poured cold water on the whole thing almost immediately. The Speaker of the Parliament, Mohammad Baqir Ghalibaf, says it's fake news and there's no talks. Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baqi has also denied direct talks are taking place, but says messages have been expressed through a number of friendly countries. From what we understand, that includes Turkey, Qatar, Egypt, and Pakistan. All have reached out to Iranian officials over the last 48 hours. Then a message from the military spokesperson saying that Iran and its regional Gulf neighbors can secure the Strait of Hormuz and ensure safe passage. So is there really a deal on the table? It's unlikely Iran will say it openly. It wants to make it clear that it's willing and able to carry on fighting for months, even if that isn't entirely true. But it's also been burned twice by the Americans on the negotiating table, so it isn't going to be very forthcoming. But let's take a look at the situation on the ground. No major strikes of the scale Trump threatened have taken place inside Iran, but there are reports of several attacks, including in the capital, Tehran. In Israel, barrages were fired across the country, targeting large central areas. Heavy damage was reported in Tel Aviv and the port city of Haifa. In Lebanon, Israeli airstrikes caused massive explosions in the south, and in the capital, Beirut, Israel issued forced displacement orders to residents in 2 areas near Tyre, including a Palestinian refugee camp. And in the Gulf, the GCC is still under fire. Power lines were cut by debris in Kuwait, sirens were heard in Bahrain, and in Saudi Arabia, several drones were intercepted. But it was a quiet night in Qatar, with no interceptions reported for several days now. It could be a sign people are talking. Overall, there has been a reduction of violence, but multiple fronts are still active, and the markets are also cautious. Take a look at the oil price just as Trump made his announcement. It plunged by 12% to below $100, but it's now creeping back up. The timing of Trump's announcement didn't seem to be a coincidence either. It came just before US markets reopened on Monday. But does that mean it was all a ploy and that there aren't real negotiations behind the scenes? The thing to keep in mind in a high-stakes war like this is that everyone is bluffing. No one wants to appear weak or desperate for a deal, even if they are. Trump is clearly under pressure economically and politically. He needs a deal, but also proof that he didn't start a war for nothing. Iran's government and its defenses have been decimated. It now has a powerful bargaining chip in the Strait of Hormuz, and it won't let go of that easily. And Israel is likely running low on interceptors and wants to seize southern Lebanon before fighting stops. What happens in the next 5 days will show whether all 3 sides have exhausted their ability or willingness to keep fighting, and whether the rest of the region and world leaders can force them to see the bigger picture, the one all of us are now very much a part of. That's it from me today. Stay with us on Al Jazeera for all your updates in the war on Iran.